Welcome to the Horror Globe, a truly international take on the world of horror. I'm your Canadian connection here, Aaron. You can also check out my own channel as well, and recommend it if you're not subscribed. Please subscribe, and to everybody else that's on here, their channels are awesome, so subscribe there as well. It's Halloween month, and I wanted to choose something different for the first day. I'd originally planned to choose Scalps, which is one that I will be doing. So anybody that's a fan of the really cheesy gore-festy stuff from the 80s, kind of harder to find stuff nowadays, and yeah, it is harder to find. That's not my review today, or not my review right now. My review right now is on a trilogy, one that I really enjoy, and one that probably doesn't get the credit that it deserves, especially for its, well, some of its inventiveness in one of the sequels. And that would be, in a way, that's really, there's four of them, but I think there's three on here, so we're gonna go with Trilogy, even though there's a fourth one that's pretty bad. Yeah, I think, and that's the Slumber Party Massacre collection. First off, of course, this is from Roger Corman's production company and came out originally under the Roger Corman Cult Classics line. Well, it was out before that, but those are, well, they're out of print. This you can still pick up, usually for about 20 to 25 bucks at your local HMV. Now, this is an incredible set. I'm going to be talking not just about the movies, but I'll talk about the features as well. But let's get right to the first film. The first film, Slumber Party Massacre, was actually written by a feminist, and it was kind of her satire, her take on the slasher films of the time. And they also got a female director to direct it. So right there, pretty much a kick in the balls of the people that said horror films were all completely misogynistic. Now, although the movie was meant to be a kind of a satire type thing, it does pretty much play out like a straightforward normal slasher film. And basically you have a guy with a large drill, get the phallic symbol there, and he escapes from an asylum. There's not a lot of plot points that you really need to know. There's some girls that are having a slumber party. There's a girl next door with her sister who probably wants to be at the slumber party, but she's not quite as popular. And meanwhile, there's some boys that are going to crash the slumber party. Yeah, you've heard this all before, but it is done pretty inventive, actually. This killer is pretty cool. There's no mask in this one. You know exactly who the killer is, what he looks like, right from the beginning. Brink Stevens has an early role in this film, and she's one of, I think she's the first person killed on screen in this film, and that was a great start for her. I think she would come back to the series later on. But again, really, really well done, especially for such a low budget. There's some great gore effects in this one here. The pizza delivery boy scene is memorable, and it had been used over again in another film called Left to Die, something like that. Die Hard. We'll get into that in another video. Anyway, that's a different movie altogether we'll talk about. But let's just say this scenes from Slumber Party Massacre would get recycled in other films. Gotta say, I'm a huge fan of the first one, because we got some great actresses in there. Well, for a horror movie, yeah, the acting is pretty damn good. But part two, it does everything up a notch. Part two, where the part one had started out to be like kind of like satiristic, but was more like a straightforward slasher film. Part two is complete off-the-wall parody. When you talk about like horror comedies and stuff like that, part two really gets overlooked a lot in the genre. And part two had some great actors. Christopher Bernard, who was on Wings, is the lead in this one here. Cameron MacArthur, who played Kelly on Santa Barbara. We have Heidi Cusack, who's also on Santa Barbara before going on to other programs. This one here is very different. The driller killer in this one is not the same as in the first one. Of course, in the first one, there's no big shocker. He gets killed. In this one, it's kind of a ghost Freddy Krueger type character. Basically, you got a guy that looks like he came out of the 50s, and he has a giant red guitar, and it has a drill on it, and he plays his guitar and sings and drills people. It's very surreal. There's some really cool scenes. There's a cool scene with a giant zit. Some really different stuff. Some really, really, really cool stuff. It's definitely the gem of the set. And it's a horror comedy that people miss for some reason. And it is a great horror comedy. There's some really great kind of cool surrealistic scenes that go on in this film. And it's very, very tongue-in-cheek. And a lot of people didn't get it at the time. Didn't get the fact that it was a horror comedy. And it was kind of like when you watch Evil Dead and you go see Evil Dead 2. And, it's not the quality of that. But still, Evil Dead 2 is very much more over-the-top, very surreal, very funny. And Slumber Party Massacre 2 goes in that vein. It goes in the funny vein. It goes in the satirical parody type vein. It's not a serious horror movie. And I'll show you the killer on the back right here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Obviously, we can tell we're not into like serious horror territory at this point with an Andrew Dice Clay looking guy with a giant demonic red guitar with a huge drill on it. Worth buying it on the set for the set alone is the second movie. The first one and two are great films. Now we're going to get into the third film. The third film has Maria Ford, and she is gorgeous, as Maria Ford always is. However, what it also has is a tired plot, a script that pretty much plays it straight by the numbers. And although a decent watch, you definitely know that you're going into this seeing not quite the quality of the movies that you had seen in the first two. I know these are low budget films and they're cheesy fun films, but 1 and 2 are strongly superior to the third one. Though this collection is great to have. The original ones, the double feature stuff, were hard to get now. The Shit Factory did a great transfer on these films here as well. The Driller Killers in Part 1 and 2 are incredible. The mystery of Part 3 is no mystery at all, and trust me, you'll figure it out long before they actually say who it is. They do try to be a little bit clever with it, and I'll give them credit for that. These are the unrated copies of course, Slumber Party Massacre 3 is finally unrated here, so yay, lots of gore and breasts. Yeah, you like breasts? Watch these movies. You like cute girls? Watch these movies. You like kind of like cool gore? Watch these movies. It's definitely a must for Halloween. If you don't have this in your collection, then go out and buy it. It's not one that I'm going to say rent. It's not a renter. It's a buyer. And even more than that, we got like new anamorphic widescreen transfers of these films. They're all Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2, and of course the transfer for Part 3. I think it's the widescreen as well. Now, there's a really cool 3-part documentary on this called Sleepless Nights Revisiting the Slumber Party Massacre. And it really goes in depth on the films. I gotta say, it went over on both discs. It has a really, really cool, it's a 2-disc set. And we get a booklet with this one as well, because many of the Roger Corman ones did have booklets with them. And it's we gotta say, it's pretty cool. We got to see, like, in case you're wondering the type of films these are. There's the Driller Killer from the original film there, and that's Brink Stevens being the first person killed. Yeah, I was right. It was Brink Stevens being killed, and this is Part 3. So the killers in the movie is pretty cheesy and it's pretty fun stuff. Here, I'll just open up the back of the thing so you can kind of see, because they always put different stuff on the back of the Shit Factory DVDs. They never let you down. It's the box art for Slumber Party Massacre 2. And these cult classics, if Scream Factory had been around at the time that this was on, this would definitely have been a Scream Factory release. And it's a quality release. We also, by the way, get audio commentaries on every one of these films. So you're going to get a commentary on each of these films. And definitely worth listening to. Photo and poster stills galleries, theatrical trailers. if you're looking for like a cool marathon-y thing to do, this is it. This is the three of them, the Slumber Party Massacre collection. It's going to run you $20 to $25. If you're lucky, you can find it cheaper at some stores. But this is it. It's under the Roger Corman Cult Classic Collection logo. It's a Shout Factory, and it's one that really, really, really belongs in your collection. I'm trying to see if I missed anything on this review here. This is my first review for the Horror Globe, so and I'm just coming back off of being out for a while, so excuse me if I'm a little rusty on getting this stuff in. I've tried to get in everything that you probably would want to know about these films. So, gore count. Fairly high for these three films. And what's the Joe Bob Briggs way? Breast count? Yeah, so if hot girls are going to proliferate these films, so you will be... You're not going to be disappointed that way. This is a cool slasher movie. And slasher trilogy. And there's not a lot of slasher trilogies that actually go the way that this went. Part 2 goes very different and just brings it right back to the slasher thing of with part 1 with part 3 again. And that's a unique way to take it. Remember, when you go in to watch part 2, remember that it's kind of a weird, surreal, kind of comedic take on the whole thing. It's not the basic slasher film, and it just tries to do some really cool different stuff. I personally, part 2 is my personal favorite in this series. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm a huge fan of this series. I've always been. This was the one that got me. As soon as I knew this was coming out in Shout Factory had me. And then they started the Scream Factory logo. I'd been buying the Roger Corman movies before that, but this was the one. This was the one that got me into it. This is the one that sucked me in. This is the one that sucked me back into watching a lot of these DVDs again. This is a great trilogy of slasher films. The third film is the weakest. They are all fun films. There's nothing, we're not reinventing the wheel here. These are great slasher films. Slumber Party Massacre is a very fun film. Slumber Party Massacre 2, again, an amazing film. And Slumber Party Massacre 3, it is what it is. It's a slasher film. Is it the best? No, but it does fit all the criteria that you need for a cool, fun, little cheesy slasher night at the movies. Every one of these three, it started out as something unique at the time, but kind of became a gimmick after a while. But all three of these are directed by females. Great slasher movies, and how many times can I say that? I highly recommend you pick up the Slumber Party Massacre collection because, I just rewatched these recently, and I'll be watching these again throughout Halloween. Particularly look forward to the sequences, the dream sequences in part 2. Kind of dreams, fantasies that she has are all kind of freaky and cool. You're gonna like those. And the Slumber Party Massacre scene with the girl and the what do you call it? With the pizza guy. When the pizza guy, no eyeballs, and let's just say they still eat the pizza. Enjoy these films. Have a happy Halloween, guys, and this is my first review on the, I missed yesterday, so here we go. 3 movies in one. Slumber Party Massacre 1, 2, and 3 collection. Have it. Watch these movies over Halloween. Buy the set. Seriously, this is a buy if you're a horror collector and this is not in your collection. Shame on you. Thanks for watching the Horror Globe, and you're going to see me here again soon with some really weird, different out there stuff. Scalps, goosebumps, just a lot of really cool retro, different stuff. And I'm your Canadian Connection, Aaron Pin, signing out. I'm having some Javalia vanilla latte. But after this, guys, it's time for tea.